your move, your move. Yugioh is king of pain. It's time to duel.
Yo, 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 yo. What's going on, people? How we doing? How we doing? Alright, let's get some good old background music going. I do have pizza in the oven, so that I might have to step away in a very quick minute. Oh, that's really up-tempoed. Gotta put that normal. Okay, start that over. Okay. Jealous? Yeah, I just got it. It's was it the, I think, Red Baron, the brand, one of those like frozen pizzas. It's whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was fine the beginning of the day, but I don't know. The more these past few years have just been tough, man, with people, you know, losing people and whatnot. I mean, you know, Kazuki, he was 60 and everything, but it was a tragedy. I believe it was he was snorkeling. And supposedly it was like, he was snorkeling alone, and supposedly it was like something heart related. I have to look into it again just to make sure that I'm not misquoting that, but, you know, it sucks. I don't really know more, you know, sophisticated way to put it. You know, it's weird. Just watching so many streams, everybody, you know, including myself, you know, throwing rest in peace Kazuki in the title and stuff like that, and I think it's important, and it can be confused with, I guess, people trying to, I don't know, use it as like an opportunity to for clickbait or something like that, but I don't know. I think most people genuinely feel a little something about it. You know, I was watching Little Karibo's stream, and he was a mess. He was an absolute mess. I was watching Distant Coder. He went live a bit earlier because Thursday's his variety day, so he wanted to do Pokemon. But yeah, actually, give me 1 sec. I'm gonna check my pizza. I might have not heard the beep. got two slices here. Served up. Very, very hot. I'm really hungry. I want to eat this, but it's super hot. What was I saying? Yeah, so I was watching Little Karibo. He was a mess. Coder, Distant Coder, he went out live a bit earlier in honor of it for a little while, and then he went back. He went to Pokemon. He's doing a Nuzlocke with another streamer. But yeah, it's been interesting, kind of clicking through different streams and just seeing everybody's take, and just how much for some it's. A lot of people are just kind of enjoying the game, and that's fine. That's completely fine. But I guess it's really striking, and it kind of brings a certain level of awareness when you see people who are like really like deeply affected by it. Crocodile pizza time. Yep, pizza time. Literally. Yep. And you know, at first I was kind of just, you know, well, I wasn't shoulder shrug about it. I was like, wow, that's, you know, it's literally the name of the. You grab any Yu-Gi-Oh card, and his name is at the bottom. Like, it's crazy. I don't know how well you all can see that, but also sexy ass red eyes. I got a whole set of them. I gotta get them individualized here, but. You get any Yu-Gi-Oh card, his name's at the bottom, so that's crazy. And just reflecting on he has a very, very, very unique eye. So similar to like Gen 1 Pokemon, right? The art style and the design and just the whole concept was so unique and different. Whereas I don't think a lot of times Yu-Gi-Oh gets exactly the recognition for how unique it was, but I think, especially after I'd watched Little Karibo's kind of talking about it with his chat and stuff, he's absolutely right in that he found a way to make like wizards cool, like Dark Magician, right? It's very easy to make, I don't know, like a wizard, you know, pointy hat and a cloak, right? It's just very generic. Either that or, I don't know, just not really super edgy. But like Dark Magician is like, he's like, you know, it's like you have Harry Potter, and I don't really know if people, I'm not the hugest Harry Potter fan, but I don't know if people really consider Harry Potter the character as like super cool and super badass. Maybe he's like a deep character with like lots of comparable traits, but I don't know if people really see him as badass. Whereas like Dark Magician, you see him as like cool. He's like a cool wizard. You know, not really like the wise wizard. He's not like the uneducated, derpy wizard or anything like that, any other archetype. He's like the one example, at least I can think of like a really cool wizard, and not being overly edgy either. Like, one of my complaints that I said a while ago, which maybe, you know, some people don't entirely agree on, was, in my personal opinion, I think a lot of modern Yu-Gi-Oh cards are a little, I don't know. So a lot of them tend to be a little overly designed to me. Like the monsters and stuff. Like, it looks like a billion things going on a tiny little box. And it's like, I've come to like some of them, but like, I don't know. When you just look at like Horn Imp, Feral Imp, like the designs of those monsters, it's just like looking at Pokemon Gen 1 to me. Like, if you look at just like Charmander, like, he's so simple, but like for whatever reason, nobody can really capture that again. Like, no other gen of Pokemon has really been able to capture the uniqueness of the artistic eye that it took to make those Gen 1 Pokemon. I think it's the same thing for a lot of like earlier Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. Even like midway through, honestly. I love Chaos Emperor Dragon, Black Luster Soldier Envoy at the beginning, etc. But like, a little around there and, you know, a little beyond, it started to get a little bit, designing stuff started to get a little bit, you know, creative. And right, they've created thousands of cards, so like, I'm not going to expect them to like, you know, stick to a very, very rigid formula of simplicity, right? But I don't know. There was something extremely unique about the OG Yu-Gi-Oh art style. Like cards like, I don't know, like Gemini Elf and Red Eyes Black Dragon, Blue Eyes White Dragon. Particularly the original artworks on them, you know? Yeah, I'm not really sure, you know, what more to say outside of that. I mean, much like everybody else, I'm sure... I know that everybody who, you know, joins this chat, for the most part, whether, you know, newly into Yu-Gi-Oh! Or having grown up with it and, like, turned it off, turned it back on, like, after years later, that, you know, I think for everybody, there's some level of nostalgia for Yu-Gi-Oh! No matter where your entry level was. I guess it's hard for me to fathom people who, like, maybe their first Yu-Gi-Oh! Was, like, Zexal or something like that. But, man, even, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, as much shit as I talk about that and Jaden and stuff, like, even that show, there's a lot of nostalgia behind it, you know? Kutcher, how's it going on, man? How's it going? But yeah, I'm curious, like, when, I'm kind of curious to see, like, people in the chat, like, when was your entry level into Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, what really got you into it? So, like, for me, the more I thought about it, Yu-Gi-Oh! Was always, even when on the phases where I kind of turned off, or turned away from Yu-Gi-Oh! For, like, several years, for me, I think it was always that undergirthed thing that I always loved. What about me? I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. But so I don't know. I guess it's kind of like you know, I compare a number of things to wrestling a lot of times. Like even back then, like when we were teenagers or whatever, and obviously I'm 31 at this point, but you know, people who were 29, 30, 31 might be able to relate to this. But you know, even back then, growing up like in the Attitude Era, 99, 2000, 2001, 2002, up to like maybe 05, 04, something like that. There was something different about wrestling specifically that nobody, like people on the outside just did not understand it. Like just did not understand it at all. When I try to explain it to people, it's like a foreign concept. So I'm going to keep going with this analogy. So for example, with wrestling, right? The knee-jerk reaction is, oh, but it's not real, right? That's the number one skepticism argument, and I get that, right? It portrays itself as a sport, but it's not, right? It's a phony sport, if you will, right? At the very surface level, but it's not just that, right? There's a reason things like Blue Man Group and theater and I don't know, I guess just on a stage, you know, theater type stuff. Supreme, yo, what's going on? Rest in peace to Takahashi. Critter said, I left Yu-Gi-Oh! Before Synchro era and came back at 2017 for Duel Links and 2022 for Master Duel. Some good checkpoints. That was about the time I left too. Just shy of Synchros. Well, did I leave? I think a part of me departed from Yu-Gi-Oh! But like after a year, I would like encounter a friend, and like a friend I knew, or like, you know, would hang out again, and then it'd be like, oh, you know, I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh! In forever. You hear about all these new synchro cards and stuff. I'm like, yeah, definitely. And you know, I still had a lot of knowledge of like the older cards and stuff, so I was able to help him with that. Supreme, you okay? You could dial it back, my friend. Yeah. Yeah, easy, my friend, easy. Yeah, I think, I lost my train of thought. But, oh yeah, so, I don't know, just to stay on the tangent with friends, and wrestling. I've always found Yu-Gi-Oh to be one of the #1 things that like helped me make friends. You know, and I don't want to be all super sappy and corny and stuff like that, but like when I actually practically Supreme, when I practically reflected on it, I think literally every friend I have in my life is either from Yu-Gi-Oh or from a friend that I like secondary from a friend I made through Yu-Gi-Oh. So for example, Vile Crocodile, Danny in the chat, me and Dung became best friends for a while through Yu-Gi-Oh in like 9th grade. And I remember Dung having Morphing Jar. It was the first time I saw a Morphing Jar in real life, and I lost my shit. I'm like, you have a fucking Morphing Jar? I was losing it. I never saw a human with Morphing Jar. Mind you, that card was a fucking tournament pack card, right? Nobody was like buying. Those weren't in stores, right? So Dung just had one. He might have gotten them from a trade or something, but then anyway, my point of that was Danny. Like I know Danny, the Vile Crocodile, through Dung basically. Like I think it was like Dung met Steven, met you through Steven, and then you just came in the circle, and then that's how I met you. And then like another one of my best friends in the past, Matt Small, exact same thing. He saw me and Dung playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and he would be at one lunch table, we would be at a different one, and he loved Ojamas at that time. And I remember he's told me the story a few times where, and I recall this. He came over to ask for advice on his cards, where it was like me, even Edwin. Edwin comes to the chat all the time. We met Edwin through Yu-Gi-Oh. An old friend of mine, Rob Fenton, another friend, he's in the Discord, his name is Maze, but it's Nikki, Yu-Gi-Oh as well. Like, that was the primary thing in high school that, like, tethered my friendships, was Yu-Gi-Oh. And then everything else came second, whether it was Pokemon, whether it was video games, literally anything else. It was crazy. And I think it was really... I can't put my finger on it. So I'm going to cycle back to my analogy with wrestling. Why I think a lot of people don't really get Yu-Gi-Oh! In the same way they don't get wrestling. In that... So what we like about wrestling isn't the fact that it's a sport, right? And it isn't the fact that it's a drama or like a TV show. It's because it's both of those and it's Blue Man Group. It's literally all of those things tethered into one. It's like the last thing, even though it's not very good now, but it's like the last thing that is of any mainstream value that's like